We can define an acid as being a proton donor and a base or alkali as a proton acceptor. Why do we say a proton? Well, that's because that's exactly what a hydrogen ion is. A nucleus of one proton that's missing its electron. Of course, in order for an acid to donate a proton, there must be a base present to accept that proton. When this happens, the species that has accepted the proton is now called the conjugate acid and vice versa. We pair these into acid-base pairs. Hydrochloric, nitric, and sulfuric acids are all strong acids. They completely dissociate when in solution. We say sulfuric acid is diprotic, as it has two H+ ions to donate, whereas the others are monoprotic. Weak acids only partially dissociate, like ethanoic acid. In this case, an equilibrium is set up, which is subject to Le Chatelier's principle. The weaker the acid, the less it dissociates, and the further to the left the position of equilibrium. Ka is a measure of how strong a weak acid is. It's equal to the product of the concentrations of the individual dissociated ions divided by the concentration of the acid not dissociated. Similarly, strong bases dissociate completely into their positive ions and OH- ions. pH is a measure of the concentration of dissociated H+ ions. It's equal to minus log of this concentration, log base 10 this time. So that means if the concentration increases by a factor of 10, then pH decreases by 1. If we need to rearrange to make the concentration the subject, we delog both sides, which means it's equal to 10 to the power of minus the pH. We can also have POH, which does the same job, but for OH- ions in basic solutions instead. It just means that one is equal to 14 minus the other. What's interesting is that even if we have pure water, there's still a bit of dissociation due to slight ionization, making H3O+ and OH-. The dissociation constant in this case is called Kw, or the ionic product of water, which is 10 to the minus 14. This is why the maximum pH for an alkali solution is 14, and therefore why a neutral pH is 7, halfway between 0 and 14. Calculating pH of a strong acid is easy, as the concentration of H+ is the same as the original concentration of the acid itself, as it completely dissociates. Don't forget to double it if it's diprotic though. Calculating the pH of a weak acid is more complicated, as first we need to know how much it dissociates, as well as its original concentration. These approximations or assumptions are less valid the stronger the weak acid is, as it dissociates more. As very weak acids have very small Ka values, we can compare strength in terms of pKa values instead, minus log Ka instead of H+ concentration. A buffer solution is a solution that resists a change in pH when small quantities of acid or alkali are added. This makes them very useful in controlling the pH of a solution. They're made by combining a weak acid with its sodium or potassium salt, for example ethanoic acid and sodium ethanoate if you want a pH less than 7, or a weak base and its chloride if you want an alkaline or basic buffer. Say we use ammonia and ammonium chloride. If you have a weak acidic buffer solution and a strong acid is added, the extra H+ ions are removed by reacting with the ethanoate ions, for example, to negate the effect they would otherwise have on the pH. We need a high concentration of sodium ethanoate to mitigate the huge number of H+ ions that are added. If an alkali is added, the OH ions react with the H+ ions of the acidic buffer solution to make water. This causes the ethanoic acid to dissociate to produce more H+ ions, therefore negating the effect of adding the alkali. Le Chatelier's principle is at play here. To calculate the pH of an acidic buffer solution, we use the dissociation constant for the acid and say that's equal to the product of the concentrations of its ions, divided by the concentration of the acid. Rearrange to make H+ concentration the subject, then use this in our pH equation. An alkaline or basic buffer works in a similar way. We just need to make sure that we have a high concentration of the base and its chloride in order to ensure that any H+ or OH- ions by an acid or alkali are mopped up. Titration is used to determine an unknown concentration of an acid or base using a burette with the acid and a glass pipette's worth of alkali in a conical flask. We do a rough titer first, adding the acid to the alkali while swirling. An indicator will show us when there's a large pH change, like when it's gone from basic to acidic, showing that neutralization has occurred. To do a proper titer then, when we near the end point, we only let a drop of the acid in, which you can do by touching the inside of the flask against the bottom of the burette so the drop on the end drips in. We swirl, then leave for a few seconds, and if the color change is permanent, we've reached the end point, and we can measure an accurate value for the volume of acid used. We repeat this and calculate an average to get a precise value. Indicators are often weak acids that partially dissociate in solution, for which its unionized form is a different color to the anionic form. This color change occurs at different pHs for different indicators. A good indicator is one that changes over a rapid change in pH when there's only a small increase in the volume of a reactant. So here's the pH curve for a reaction. The pH changes rapidly such that the line is vertical. We wouldn't use methyl orange indicator for this reaction as it changes color over the pH range of 3 to 5. That's not near the vertical position of our curve. So phenolphthalein would be far better here, which changes between pH 8 and 10, and that's in the vertical portion of our curve. The midpoint of this line is called the equivalence point, which is at a pH of 7 if reacting a strong acid and strong base. That changes if we're using either a weak acid or a weak base. If using both a weak acid and base, the equivalence point is still 7, but there's no vertical portion to the curve anymore, so there's no indicator that would work well in this case. A salt is made when an acid reacts with a base or alkali. We should probably distinguish between a base and alkali, really. A base accepts H+ ions, protons, while an alkali is a soluble base that releases OH- ions to make a salt. In both cases, though, the H+ ion of an acid is replaced by a metal or ammonium ion. Water molecules can loosely bond to salts. When heated, the water is removed. We can measure the change in mass during this reaction to determine how many molecules of water there are to every 1 lot of the salt. This is called the water of crystallization. So I hope you found that helpful. Leave a like and a comment if you did, and don't forget to check out our revision app to help you test your knowledge. Links in description.